Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Kimberly Scott. It's an honor to be here today sharing our survival story with you. I want to begin by telling you all how deeply I respect everybody in this room. All disciplines, all backgrounds, and all opinions. You guys could be anywhere else, but you chose to be here, and I believe that willingness to listen is the first step towards real progress. So thank you for being here. On November 6, 2019, my 2-year-old daughter, Gray, developed some concerning symptoms that led to the loss of control of the left side of her body. When we left the house, she couldn't move her leg much. And in the car on the way to the emergency room, she lost the movement of her left arm. By arrival, my daughter was completely paralyzed on the left side of her body. The MRI revealed a large mass deep in the bottom side of her brain near the thalamus. We heard the words aggressive. We heard the words inoperable. And they told us we could expect 3 weeks to 3 months with our daughter. Nothing prepares a parent to hear that, much less in front of their child. So, while one hospital told us to prepare for the worst and insisted that her tumor was inoperable, another surgeon, Dr. Rick Boop of St. Jude, reviewed her scans and personally called me. He told me that he believed he could remove her tumor in full without hurting her. And within 24 hours, we were on the road to Memphis from Michigan. After 7.5 hours of surgery, he had successfully removed 90% of the tumor. And when my daughter woke up, she had moved the side of her body that had been paralyzed before surgery, and she gave her daddy a high five with her left hand. Within 10 hours, she was running the halls and playing catch with both hands. And we were told that the remaining 10% would likely need chemotherapy or possibly radiation down the road, but that she was in a great position to survive after the resection. When she was fully recovered from surgery, we started chemotherapy locally. And anticipating the effects that chemo could put her through, I got her certified beforehand by 2 physicians to use medical cannabis oil to support her in the event that she would need nausea or pain control during her treatment. And I took this precaution in an effort to spare my child from as many prescriptions as possible after watching my own family members rapidly decline during chemotherapy. She endured just 1 infusion of carboplatin and vincristine. And I know this isn't the case for all children, but for my child, it was nothing short of deadly.
Mama.
Her body immediately started reacting and showing the signs of systemic poisoning. After 3 trips to the emergency room in 9 days, they finally did a full workup on her, and she was found to be in full body toxicity. She was riddled with neuropathy from her jaws to her toes and had a bowel intussusception. That night they admitted her, and she was given OxyContin, morphine, Ativan, and fentanyl. When those drugs failed to stop her bone-chilling screams from ringing through the ICU, they agreed to send her cannabis oil down to the pharmacy. They put a label on it for us, and under the supervision of the nurses, this desperate mother gave her screaming daughter her first dose of cannabis oil. Within 20 minutes, my daughter fell into a peaceful sleep. It lasted 8 hours. When she woke up, Her bowels, which had been expected to need surgical intervention, had repaired themselves. And with swollen eyes from 9 days of complete hysteria, she asked me for food. Scientific literature has since documented similar palliative effects. Frontiers in Pharmacology in 2020 and JAMA Oncology in 2019 describe cannabinoids reducing neuropathic pain and chemotherapy-induced nausea through CB1 and CB2 receptor modulation in the central and enteric nervous systems. So her oncologist witnessed it, reviewed her labs, and deemed my child allergic to traditional chemotherapy. She supported our decision to continue using the cannabis oil, and our home state was relatively new to the medical cannabis program, and it was highly unregulated. We also happened to be new to cannabis medicine, so sourcing the oil was on our shoulders, and we got it wherever we could, and never really found a consistent or reliable source for it. For over a year, her MRIs were called stable. Until one day they showed me the scan, which they didn't usually do. And I was devastated to find out that my daughter's tumor had grown back to its original size. Our surgeon had never received any of the images that they agreed to send him, so he would know if and when he needed to intervene for her. He was as shocked as I was as to how this had happened. So he told us the need for surgery was immediate and that he would have his scheduling team call us to work us in as soon as we could get there. Then a grueling insurance battle ensued over the next week and a half, but approval was ultimately granted, and we loaded her back up to drive her back across the country for second surgery that she never should have had to have. The second 7.5-hour surgery removed 80% of her tumor. While she was in surgery with heavy hearts, we made the decision to put our home on the market and move our 6-person family closer to Memphis so that she would always be within reach of the team that continued to step in and save her. That surgeon and the whole team in Memphis kept our child and our hope alive. Our home sold in 7 days, and we were on our way to fight for her life. In 2021, my daughter entered a MEK inhibitor trial. Upon intake at St. Jude, we immediately disclosed that she was licensed to use medical cannabis oil to manage her neuropathy pain. I think that's very important. Full disclosure is very important. It can be very scary, but when it's done immediately, you're in a much better position, and you build a trust and a rapport with your doctors, and I just want to highlight how important I think that is. So the oncologist agreed to allow us to continue use of her cannabis oil, but he did ask for an 8-week suspension in order to get organic results regarding her starting the study drug. So in good faith, we agreed, and it wasn't more than a week before my daughter started needing prescription pain medication to control her neuropathy pain, which did confirm to me that the oil was saving her from being on these heavy medications. During that 8-week period of cannabis suspension, my daughter's tumor doubled in size in 8 weeks. And it unintentionally created a natural control. All variables were constant except for one removal, and that was cannabis. And it resulted in rapid progression that we hadn't seen before. It was apparent after it doubled in size in 8 weeks that the oil she was previously on was in fact slowing the growth of the tumor. But in all the time that my daughter used cannabis oil, we never saw any real shrinkage. This time in my life is when Hillary found me. She educated me on the importance of lab testing my child's cannabis oil to ensure that it was free of heavy metals pesticides, and solvents. Then she offered to provide lab-tested organic medicine at no cost to my daughter, and thought that my daughter's tumor would respond much better to an oil that was clean and organic and treated like any other medicine. We immediately got her on the medicine, and we began to again fill her endocannabinoid system all over again. 8 weeks later, the next MRI showed a 60% reduction in her tumor, confirmed by tumor metrics reporting. We weren't sure if the drastic reduction in her tumor came from the study drug or the new cannabis oil or a combination of both. So I was absolutely terrified to change anything. Unfortunately, soon after starting the study drug, Gray developed elevated liver enzymes, severe abdominal pain, and her neuropathy pain began to become more persistent. Her hair began to drastically thin and lighten. We disagreed on what was causing her enzymes to steadily elevate and her stomach pain to increase. So to prove or disprove what was causing all of this, we paused the study drug with the approval of our oncologist. And we agreed to have labs drawn every 3 days while still continuing her cannabis oil. When we did pause the study drug, but continued her oil, her enzymes normalized within 6 days, and her pain complaints resolved. We went the rest of that month without even taking the study drug at all. She remained pain-free, and her enzymes stayed normal the entire time. When we did eventually reintroduce the inhibitor, the abnormalities returned with it. And at first, I just wanted her off the trial drug. Her medication log was filled with breaks from the medication instead of her actually taking it. The oncologist wanted her to remain in the trial, so he lowered the drug to the smallest active dose of 21 kids. And I agreed to that, providing her liver enzymes stayed in normal range and her pain was under control. He did warn me that it was too low of a dose for it to do what we wanted it to do. But after seeing her make such an improvement off of the study drug, that was a chance I was willing to take until the next scan. I had shown my good faith, and now I wanted to give this oil a chance to prove what it could do too. But no matter how many lengthy breaks she took from the study drug, and there were several of them, her scans continued to improve. I quickly lost my belief in the study drug, and my faith grew in the natural medicine that she was taking. She was off of the study drug more than she was on it for the last year of her trial, yet I still watched her tumor disappear in every single scan. The smaller it got, the more I began to believe in what was healing her. At the trial completion, my daughter was the only one of 21 children in that study who ever got clear scans. Still to this day, she is the only one out of 21 children in that study who made it to 2.5 years cancer-free, whose tumor did not immediately start growing when the trial ended. She's the only one. Today she uses minimal oral maintenance oil, and she uses a topical salve that I make myself from the same extract that she treated the tumor with. Her only scar, her only reminder of having ever fought this brain tumor today, is from the standard of treatment that she had just one infusion of. Beyond that, it's like it never happened. She's a healthy and happy second grade girl. She has great grades. She has a great memory and no cognitive or otherwise physical deficits. I want to share some other cases with you. Our journey with our daughter led us to meeting some very wonderful kids and families. who had some really great results and used the same medicine with different tumors. So, as I talk to you about these kids, they're gonna stand up and you're gonna get to see them with your own eyes. So Ben, this is Ben.
Oh, wave to the people.
Ben's tumor was identical in type and pathology to Grayson's. He began using the same full extract lab-tested cannabis oil soon after her. And he too had been placed on a MEK inhibitor trial, and he suffered significant side effects from it. His mother discontinued the inhibitor after 13 months and began using only the cannabis oil, daily propolis, and crushed garlic. Over the year following his stopping the MEK inhibitor, his MRIs went clear. Ben still lives with seizures daily, speech delay and impairment, right side paralysis from a stroke, not from the tumor itself, but from a surgery. But he remains free of recurrence today. This is Maddie. Maddie is 7 years old with metastatic anaplastic. Maddie was barely a baby when her treatment began. 4 rounds of chemotherapy and 35 sessions of radiation to the brain. After a relapse in 2021, her family added the same cannabis oil that my daughter used. For 4 years, her scans have stayed clear. But the radiation left deep scars, cognitive delays, emotional dysregulation, left-sided weakness, visual field loss, and balance issues. Her cancer is gone, but the collateral damage remains heavy. This is Brooklyn. She's 6 years old. Brooklyn's tumor was labeled inoperable. Her team proposed the same chemotherapy that my daughter had, the one that has scarred her. Eventual radiation was also on the table, but her mother chose instead to start the same cannabis oil before starting any other treatments, before chemo, before radiation. She just went directly on the oil. After 2 years and consistent physical and occupational therapy, she's graduated therapy having met all her goals, and her August MRI showed a 62.5% reduction in her tumor size using only the cannabis oil and standard multivitamins. And you know my daughter's story. 2 surgeries, 1 dose of chemotherapy that nearly killed her. Years of perseverance. And clear scans today for almost 2.5 years. She lives with mild chemo-induced peripheral neuropathy, but she has graduated both occupational and physical therapy, meeting every single goal. Her weakness today is almost unnoticeable. She runs and plays and learns like any other 8-year-old girl. I want to introduce you to the 2 people who were the constant in all 4 of these stories. The people that went out of their way to provide a safe, standardized, tested medicine to our children. And they are the reason that all 4 of our children have clear scans today. They are the only reason. Hillary and Brett. Woo! I love you guys dearly, and I appreciate everything you've done for us, as well as all these other families.
We love you.
I share these outcomes not as an isolated miracle, but as signals. 3 different tumor pathologies, 4 children, and 1 common variable. Each use the same lab-tested organic multi-strain cannabis oil, Each demonstrated extreme improvements from measurable regression to prolonged remission. And this alignment cannot be ignored. I am not claiming a universal cure. One person's medicine can be another person's poison. But when independent, diverse cases yield convergent results, that is data. And it is data worth studying. This is not a call against modern medicine. It is a call, however, for collaboration. I'm asking this community to initiate a controlled, ethical, multi-patient clinical trial to examine the safety, pharmacokinetics, and efficacy of full extract multi-strain cannabis oil as an adjunct or alternative therapy for pediatric low-grade gliomas all the way to DIPG. No family should choose between comfort and survival if they don't have to. I stand here not as an adversary, but as an ally. A mother who documented outcomes and witnessed something extraordinary. We can walk towards one another from both sides of natural and traditional medicine, bridging science and compassion. I am certain that we will find a middle ground where healing and discovery meet and bring much needed hope to the future of a world where all too often only despair lives. Thank you.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough. I know how much courage that takes to tell a story and tell a story as a pioneer in something that is not always universally accepted, but you're seeing it firsthand in these kiddos and you just want it for others, and that is so brave.
And we use not just one strain like you'll find out in the dispensaries. We use 35 strains that we grow, and of those 35 strains we take 27 of them per batch so that each batch is different, so we can continually confuse the body, and I think that has something to do, a lot to do with our success. So all I do, I make the medicine, my wife, and it's just the two of us.
No funding.
No funding whatsoever. We fund it ourselves.
Yeah.
But so we grow it in our yard, we harvest it ourselves, we have no employees. I then take the material, I grind it up, I soak it in organic alcohol, extractol, sugar cane.
Certified.
Right, certified organic, we're all organic. Very important to have clean medicine because we're gonna concentrate it and then we're gonna give it to the patient. So we don't want anything that's gonna hurt them. So I soak it for 12 hours and then I strain out the material. I then put it into a water distiller we can buy on Amazon, and it takes the alcohol out, and then what's left in there is the medicine. Very simple. We don't process it to death, and then we just suck it up into syringes, and that's it. You just soak it,
Lab tested.
strain it, and distill it, and there
We
it
have
is.
over 20 DIP and GMG children. We have all the scans and blood work. We're more than happy to share.
Right.
We
These are
donate
just
the medicine, so we own. There are scans, there are results, and they're here to be shared with everyone.